Tonight, you will pick up your phone at least once before you fall asleep. You know you will. You probably already know it's not going to give you anything useful. And yet, you'll do it anyway. That is not a personal failure. That is not a lack of willpower. That is your ancient brain running a program so old it predates language itself. Your brain was not built for the world you live in now. It was built for a world that no longer exists. A world where missing information could get you killed. Where ignoring a sound in the dark was a fatal mistake. Where knowing what was happening around you meant the difference between survival and becoming something else's dinner. So your brain evolved one of its most powerful drives, the compulsion to check. Dr. Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent decades studying what he called the wanting system in the brain. His research uncovered something uncomfortable. The thing that makes you reach for your phone is not pleasure. It is the anticipation of pleasure. There is a difference, and that difference explains everything. Dopamine, the chemical most people associate with happiness, is not actually a reward signal. It is a prediction signal. It fires not when you receive something good, but when you expect that you might. Every time you pick up your phone, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. Not because anything good is there, but because something good might be. That might is the trap. Your ancestors lived in a world where unpredictable rewards meant survival. A rustle in the bushes might be prey. A stranger arriving at camp might bring news. A glance toward the horizon might reveal a coming storm. The brain that noticed, that checked, that stayed alert, that brain survived. The brain that stopped caring, that stopped monitoring its environment, that brain did not pass on its genes. You are descended entirely from the checkers. Now take that ancient system, the one that kept your ancestors alive for 300,000 years, and plug it into a small glowing rectangle that has been engineered by some of the smartest teams on Earth to be as unpredictable as possible. This is not an accident. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, spent years inside the technology industry studying exactly this. He described the smartphone notification system as a slot machine in your pocket. The variable reward schedule, the reason you never know whether the next pull will give you something exciting or nothing at all, is the most addictive behavioral pattern psychologists have ever documented. Casinos figured this out decades ago. The technology industry applied it to communication, and it worked. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day, according to research from Asurian. That is once every 10 minutes during waking hours. Not because they consciously decided to, not because they had a reason, because the loop runs automatically. Notification arrives. Attention snaps toward it. Dopamine fires in anticipation. You reach out your hand before you have finished a single conscious thought. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles long-term thinking, planning, and impulse control, is slower than that system. Always. The instinct fires first. The rational thought arrives late, after the hand is already moving. Dr. Gloria Mark at the University of California, Irvine, studied what happens to your attention after a single interruption. What she found is still surprising, even decades into the smartphone era. After your attention is broken by a notification, it takes an average of 23 minutes for your brain to fully return to the depth of focus it had before. 23 minutes. For a single check. One distraction, and your concentration is fractured for almost half an hour. Multiply that by 96 checks per day, and you begin to understand why so many people end each day feeling exhausted and somehow unaccomplished at the same time. You did not choose distraction. Your brain was hijacked by systems designed to exploit its oldest vulnerabilities. But here is where this becomes more than just a story about technology. Because the same brain that can be hijacked can also be rewired. Not through willpower, not through shaming yourself every time you reach for your phone. Through understanding the mechanism and then working with it, not against it. The first shift is the most important one. You have to stop treating phone checking as a moral problem and start treating it as a neurological one. You're not weak. You are not undisciplined. You're a human being with a dopamine system that was never designed for this environment. Recognizing that removes the shame and replaces it with something more useful, strategy. The second shift is removing the randomness. Your brain is addicted to the unpredictability of checking. So interrupt that unpredictability. Turn off every non-essential notification. Not some of them, all of them. When there is nothing to trigger the compulsive check, the loop begins to weaken. You are not removing stimulation. You are removing the slot machine lever. You get to decide when you engage rather than being summoned. The third shift is giving your dopamine system something better to hunt. The wanting system in your brain needs a target. That is its nature. If you remove the phone as its primary object, it will seek something else. This is where intentional replacement matters. Choose a project, a skill, a creative pursuit, something with its own unpredictable rewards built in, something that improves over time. Your brain will begin to redirect its seeking energy toward that instead. Not immediately, but over days and weeks. The pull of the phone weakens as the pull of the meaningful alternative grows stronger. The fourth shift is about time and space. Your brain encodes environments with habits. If you check your phone in bed, your bed becomes a trigger. If you reach for your phone first thing every morning, your morning attention is immediately colonized before you have had a single moment of directed thought. Changing the environment changes the default behavior. Charge your phone outside your bedroom. Do not touch it for the first 30 minutes of your morning. These are not arbitrary rules. They are environmental redesigns that break the automatic chain before it starts. The fifth shift is the deepest one. Much of what drives compulsive phone use is not the phone at all. It is discomfort, boredom, loneliness, the low-grade anxiety of a quiet moment with no external input. Your phone has become the easiest way to escape the experience of being alone with your own mind. And the more you escape it, the less tolerance you build for it. The less tolerance you have, the more you need the escape. The solution is not to sit in discomfort forever. It is to practice staying with it in small increments. 3 minutes without reaching for anything. Then 5. Then 10. Dr. Jonathan Bricker at the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center found that acceptance-based approaches to habit change, simply noticing the urge without immediately acting on it, dramatically outperform willpower-based approaches. You do not need to fight the urge. You only need to observe it. Sit with it. Let it rise and fall without surrendering to it. Each time you do that, the urge loses a small fraction of its power. These shifts do not happen overnight, but they compound. Every time you choose your attention deliberately rather than surrendering it automatically, you are doing something your ancestors never had to do. You're turning a survival instinct into a conscious tool. The compulsion to check is ancient. The world that created it no longer exists. But your brain is still scanning the horizon, still flinching at every sound, still certain that something important might be out there, just one more look away. Tonight, when you reach for your phone before you sleep, you will know what that reaching really is. Not habit, not need. A 300,000-year-old instinct meeting a rectangle of glass and light. And for the first time, you will have a choice about what to do next.